This is Pharaoh's house.
No, so are we going through a formal intro or we are just rolling?
You can say greetings to everyone.
Okay, all right. Greetings, everyone. Welcome. This is another edition, another installment of Pharaoh and Asmodeus, and I'm gonna go through some questions, some Q&A with him, and I'm sure he has something for us. And uh, I don't know if you want to start first or if you want me to start asking you questions, but I'm ready whenever you are or whatever you want to do.
I don't have any questions formulated right now, so
Yeah,
this
no,
yeah,
yeah.
this is if you are looking for some version of MC Nosferatu, and I'm using that name specifically, I think you know who I'm talking about. No, this is not that.
I just I know that when it comes to health, something that's like often overlooked or just never even brought to people's attention is the nervous systems, and that being the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, and what different things correlate or correspond to those nervous systems, and how to appropriate them and how to use them in accord, I guess, with life itself, as opposed to, I guess, just trying to force yourself to go into different nervous system states. Like if you're smoking weed or vaping weed or whatever, like you're forcing yourself into the parasympathetic rather than, I guess, just going into it like manually through like breath control.
Mhm.
So I know like a lot of health starts with the nervous system, and um, as a species, I guess, in the modern world, we have, if you want to call it that, we have like a tendency to like take on to have like a pretty I guess toxic nervous system load. Like it's almost like everybody can take on a certain load of I guess an attack or a toxicity level on their nervous system. I guess you could say like your nervous system load or nervous system capacity. And
Mhm.
it seems like society is keeping everybody's um, systems or I guess rhythms in those nervous systems out of whack, so that nothing, everything's discombobulated, as you would say, so people can be preyed on.
Mhm. And you used one of the words I often use. I didn't create the word, but I brought it into the lexicon. Discombobulate, a ring when you say it. And in order to get that discombobulation, you have to separate. And you don't separate people. That's too big. That's too huge of an effort. You start with the being, the so-called individual. That's where you start the separation. And it continues in every facet, whether we're talking of education or academia, or whether we're talking about the foods, the societal ways of doing things, or society in general. It all boils down to separating the being within themselves. You know, you're a community. If you're a universe, you're a community in yourself. And of course, you interact with other communities, and together you form community. But when you say, and I'm not putting anyone down by any means, I'm just saying that when you use such terms, and I don't, and this is not to you, I mean those who you got it from and heard it from, and so on and so forth, when they say, and we say, parasympathetic and sympathetic, or parasympathetic versus sympathetic, that's an example of the riff, of the split. No different than when they have you saying subconscious conscious, or have you saying you have, separate this and separate that. Or even worse, it's not just creating a duality within, it goes beyond duality. Sometimes they go into, and when I say they, let's focus on one they. The world of psychology, for example, those are big culprits because they are used as behind the programming. There's always some psychologist group, and yes, they do meet, and yes, they formulate different ways through their studies through their funded research that will be incorporated or implemented in mass. So, for example, you hear people say your ego is hurting. There is no ego. Or they talk about an id. There is no id. But if you're broken down into all these parts inside you, and you accept it, and then you start applying it, you're making it, you're manifesting it into a false reality. So yeah, you have an ego. You have a big ego. Where's this ego? You associate it with your brain activity. You associate it with the so-called nervous systems. The systems of the body are not systems, they're grids. And I can do that, and it's a fact. If you look at your so-called body or your vessel, you'll see that you are grids. You are a grid, a series of overlaying grids. Look at an MRI. They slice you into grid patterns. The same with a CAT scan, because you're made up of grid layers. And the so-called nervous system is a nervous grid. It interacts with other grids. And you mentioned the word rhythm. Well, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, or the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, are part of a rhythm, an interacting rhythm, a balance rhythm, an ebb and a flow. That ebb and flow was so-called natural. It becomes corrupt and corrupted and corruptible when you breach yourself, when you violate yourself. And we talked about various forms of violation. You can violate yourself in so many ways, and self-violation is the worst violation, because your vessel is imbued with self-awareness. So it knows when you've made a violation, and then it folds in on itself. Kind of like, the worst harm you can do to yourself is the harm that you can do to yourself. Obviously, others can harm you, but you harming you and knowing it, that's even worse. So when people harm themselves and break the rhythm between the two, you see all of the chaos that ensues.
It's
You
kind of
should
like
know
blood
your.
in the water.
Go ahead.
So it's kind of like blood in the water. Like once you harm yourself, and then you just attract other people that'll harm you, and other circumstances that'll harm you.
Yes, and then the feeding frenzy begins depending on how far you want to go with this, called self-harm. So the rhythm, and I think all who are ready must, or not must, should discover this rhythm and see all of the associated parts, or if you don't like parts, just say all the associated bodies. You can think of them as celestial bodies within. Your pupils are celestial bodies. Your stomach is a celestial body. And all of these various, what they call organs and organelles, are part of that grid of celestial bodies. And each of them has a ruling house. So you can say the house of the sympathetic and the house of the parasympathetic. Some go even far to say, don't say parasympathetic, sympathetic. That in itself is a political way of saying one is upper or above the other, or better than the other. And that happens a lot. You hear that with so-called New Ageists. You hear that with, for those who are into goddess worship. Sympathetic is the evil one, the wicked one, the ugly one. That literally, you'll hear this being said. And with that, it's another form of separation, another form of creating a rift and a duality. There's no battle between sympathetic, parasympathetic, so-called sympathetic. There's no rift. These are just rhythms. And that in itself is the best way to look at them. Rhythms, your inner rhythms. Through your own volition, through your own actions, will start a reaction or stop a reaction. The so-called sympathetic, as you know, has been listed as the fight flight portion of the so-called nervous system. And it's more than that. It's not just fight flight, but that's what it's associated with. It's also associated with the so-called go principle or masculine principle. And that's not true either, because both rhythms flow within each other. One has a dominance based on its reaction and inner reaction within another framework, another group of celestial bodies we call the sun, the moon, and celestial bodies, and the so-called earth. And therefore our rhythms interact. One will be dominant when you are in re-energizing mode, aka rest mode or sleep mode, and the other will be dominant when you are in active mode. You accept the world of fight flight because, we have various spirit bodies in control, and we have given into dogma and fear-based systems that allow spirit forms. Spirits are not supposed to rule over souls. That's just a fact. And you have spirits in the form of politicians, in the form of CEOs, in the form, they are spirits. They are not supposed to be ruling over souls, and that's why you have this perennial chaos going on. Well, in any case, when you're in that type of framework, then you accept fight flight. That's the norm. You accept the world of adversary or adversarial. You accept that as the norm, like people accept cancer. Oh, it just is. Or any other so-called illness or so-called disease. When you accept these things, you are saying that you become divided, conquered based on your own doing, which is what? Self-violation.
And like you were saying with the our rhythms communicating with the universal rhythms, um, there's obviously this push for virtual reality, or the move to merge with AI or transhumanist movement. And I often hear about the neural net, and every time I hear about it, the basically being in the neural net, or this, I guess, this augmented reality that's, I guess you somehow are jacked into the matrix situation or the neural net situation, and it overlays your actual reality. I don't know, but is that's like the same thing as far as like what we're actually naturally in. That's just like an inorganic version. Like there's a neural net, like you said, we're in the body is a bunch of grids, and it's like a microcosm of this macro, this overall natural organic grid that we're on.
Mhm.
And then you have things like the neural net, or any of these the metaverse or whatever. They're all going to be like laid down on top of those. They're grids that are laid down on top of those grids, and they're every time you're laying these grids down, whatever they are on the earth, it's messing with the nervous system uh, rhythms themselves. And so, like, if you have a massive a population that's not in accord with the natural rhythms, they're gonna be living, I guess, adversarially to life itself.
Mhm.
And I guess and that's how we've created this environment, I guess, where, like, if we have an environment of 7 billion people or 8 billion people, like they say, and I guess you just can't have too many of the recessive traits. It's almost like having like a billion ligers. If you have like a billion chimeras or something, if you had a billion hybrids and people that are just mixes of everything, like, it messes with the whole neural net. I feel like you were saying, like, if you were to create a society of people, you wouldn't want to have too many really like abominations as far as like genetics, people with codes that are not are either incomplete or just, I guess, just offensive coding, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, because if you had a bunch of ligers in your habitat, it's just gonna drain from the habitat.
That's accurate and accurately put. When you manifest these because of our inactivity, and not just our inactivity, but primarily. Thanks for listening. You've heard the first 15 minutes of this Podisode. Now go to pharaohshouse.com and sign up to become a monthly subscriber and hear the next 30 minutes of this Podisode. Or go to my Patreon link that you see in the description and become a Patreon supporter of Pharaoh's House, and you have access before everyone else does for the first 30 days after I've recorded it to 45 minutes to an hour's worth of Podisode. That's the Podisode in its full entirety, but only if you become a Patreon supporter today. Otherwise, please go to pharaohshouse.com and sign up to become a monthly subscriber and hear 30 minutes of this Podisode. Thanks. Pharaoh's House Podisode is the sole property of pharaohshouse.com. All third-party copyrights revert to their original owners. To inquire about syndication or sponsorship, please visit our website at pharaohshouse.com.